fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives, that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they, who fought here, have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause, for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
I'm glad the judges are marking me on my writing. Because if you were, you wouldn't be able to read a thing. I'd have to stand over your shoulder and tell you every single word. Because nowadays, my generation depends on technology so much that I wouldn't just say we depend on it. I'm brave enough to say we lust for it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, timekeeper, chairperson, honorable judges, and my most worthy opponents. Tonight, I, Melinda Sage, have 3 points about technolust. First, the advantages of living in a time where technology is so popular. Secondly, the breaking point, because what goes up must go down. And thirdly, the cure, if there is one. First, the advantages of living in this generation. Technology is constantly advancing. I could go away to some part in the wilderness for a month, and when I come back, there'll be systems I've never even heard of. There are new gaming systems coming out, and my friends are talking about how they're excited they are of them. I thought I knew the new gaming systems. I thought the Wii was the new thing. But now there's this 3D thing. This is ridiculous. And this is because people are always wanting more. In our society today, we are never happy with what we have. And sometimes that is a good thing, because that is pushing the inventors to come up with new things, to stretch their creative thinking caps to their limits. We have advanced phenomenally in the past couple of generations. People can communicate better. I can call my grandma who lives in BC. I can talk to my friend who lives in Spain over the internet with just a push of a button. This is all fantastic, and I love it very much. But ladies and gentlemen, everything has a breaking point. In the word technolust, there's lust. And lust, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the 7 deadly sins. And that sin is not just the lust for another person, but it can be the lust for something like technology. It's come to the point where some people will do anything, and I mean anything, for this newest technology. They will throw all their morals to the side just so they can have the latest thing, so they can brag, so they can say they are in. There's a girl in my school, and she has an iPad, or at least she had one until it was stolen from her. Because she brought it to school, and someone saw it and said, "I want that." And they wouldn't save up the money and wait the months to get it by themselves. They took it from her. That is what lust will do. Lust will cause us to steal things from each other. The companies, Mac and Apple, they aren't as innocent as we think they are, ladies and gentlemen. There are rumors that Bill Gates started Mac by stealing information from Apple. This is not honest work. When you're in the technology, you're stealing, and that's what it is, so you can stay on top. Because technology is everyone's game, and everyone wants to be at the top. Lastly, the cure. There isn't a specific one, ladies and gentlemen. I can't just say, stop reinventing new things, stop inventing new things, because some of this technology is really helpful. Some of this technology can discover brain tumors you wouldn't have ever seen before, or discover that maybe someone's heart is off beating so quietly that you need a scan to check it. But I can say that we, as a generation, need to not depend on it so much, and we need to not take our own things for granted. Because when we do that, when we take our things for granted, we are just blinded by this lust. Please remember, ladies and gentlemen, that there will always be something newer that you might not have, and then as soon as you get that, something newer will come out. So my 3 points were that technology can be great in the time it comes out, but there's always a breaking point. And the cure is that maybe we just need to not depend on technology so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I know in this age, I'm proud to say that I am proud of my outdated iPod and my outdated computer, because at least they do what they're supposed to do. Thank you very much.
Let every man judge according to his own standards, by what he has read himself and experienced, not by what others tell him to. Good evening, everyone. I am Jasleen Sarai, and the poem I'm going to recite today is entitled The Graduation Speech. It has been penned by Churchill SHS. This poem appeared in Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul and also in Chicken Soup for the Soul in the Classroom. What comes to one's mind when one hears the term the graduation speech? A lively, tearful speech that reflects on one's journey through school or college. A speech that reminds us of all the wonderful moments we have spent. This poem touched my heart because it gives a clear message that one should not impose his or her viewpoints on someone's individuality. So here goes the poem, The Graduation Speech. Jess was well liked by everyone, so everybody anticipated what he had to say as he walked up to the microphone on graduation day. For a moment, he remained silent as he peered at the faces from his senior class. And then Jess finally leaned into the microphone and spoke finally. As your class president, I'm here to speak to you today. I was up the most of the night, considering what words I should say. I reminisced on school days, and all the many things came to my mind. So many memories, and so many thoughts. But my thoughts kept focusing on one. And then Jess held up a photo, and from side to side he moved it all around, as everyone leaned to view it, and silence became the only sound. You could have heard a pin drop as Jess placed the picture in full view, and began talking of a classmate that no one really knew. Charlie's life seemed meaningless compared to yours and mine. Because none of us understood him, we never took the time. We saw only what we wanted to. That Charlie was not cool. He was far from being popular, the butt of all the jokes at school. Yes, that we knew of Charlie, and that much we decided on our own. He simply wasn't worth our time. He was an outsider who deserved to be alone. But you see, Charlie had a passion. Deep within he had a dream. It was his one desire to play for our soccer team. And of course, that was ridiculous. It was totally absurd. Charlie was no athlete. He was the senior nerd. In gym class, he was never captain. He was always chosen last. He was the poster child for unpopular. He preferred history, science, and math. And so, some of us took it to ourselves to keep Charlie from wanting to play. For weeks, we taunted him with insults, day after day, day after day. We made sure that he wasn't welcomed by anyone else in the team. For whatever foolish reasons, we were set on destroying his dreams. And here I am today to tell you, as your class president, I was wrong. I'm here to speak for Charlie, who couldn't be here because you see, he's gone. Just paused just for a moment to give his words to sink in as he looked about at the faces of parents, teachers, and friends. I'm not sure if all of you know it. I'm not sure if anyone cares. But the reason Charlie isn't with us is a reason I feel I must share. Cruel words, they're definitely weapons. They destroyed Charlie's body and soul. For all the taunting and teasing left Charlie feeling out of control. And Charlie, alone in a battle, gathered his weapons to fight. He purchased some drugs from a dealer. His mother found his body last night. Maybe it was only an accident. Maybe Charlie wanted to die. But no matter how it happened, we, as his classmates, know exactly why. For who in their lives hasn't been teased or made to feel unbearable shame? I'm certain that everyone in this room has endured some heartache and pain. And maybe boys will be boys and girls will be girls. And we have our own battles to fight. But no matter our justification, hurting Charlie was never right. And then just took Charlie's picture and held it firm in his hands and spoke to the photo before him, words unrehearsed and unplanned. If only I'd helped somehow, given you guidance to conquer your dreams. If only a teacher, a classmate, if someone would just have intervened. But I know I can never go back. I can never undo what has been done. For you will never receive your diploma or ever play soccer again. But deep in my heart I wonder, I can't help asking, what if? What if I would have reached out to you, Charlie? Would your school years have ended like this? Just stood lost in his thoughts of a life that had ended too soon, until muffled coughs caught his attention and nervous whispers began filling the room. And then just turned with a smile before retreating back to his chair, teaching a valuable lesson with his final words filling the air. I would like to introduce our valedictorian. He will be speaking today. Please give him your full attention. Please hear all that he has to say. And then just set Charlie's picture down on the podium facing the crowd as the silence told Charlie's story, a message quite convincingly loud, a message